Hey YouTube, Alicia here. I'm back with another review of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 7, Episode 6. So this week we pick up where we left off last week, because last week was a to be continued. We're at Camille's house for lunch, and Eileen is talking to Dorit about what happened at Dorit's dinner party the week before. Dorit is starting to feel picked on and ganged up on, and she lets everybody know that yes, she's friends with Lisa Vanderpump, but she doesn't know anything about what happened with the ladies last year, and that wasn't the reason why she wanted to be friends with them. So she's trying not to be involved. She says she feels like people have been talking about her behind her back and that they're winding up Erica to get her mad at her for what happened with the undies. Now, it's ironic that she is sitting here saying that she feels like people are talking about her behind her back, when that's exactly what she did with Erica. She told everybody about the flashing, bought her the undies. Everybody knew except for Erica. So tables are turned, right? So she tells Eileen that she's feeling attacked, and Eileen is surprised by that. And so it's clear that Dorit does feel attacked because she's being very defensive and a little bit aggressive, but it's not really clear why she feels attacked. They asked her specifically who has said it or what is actually going on that makes you feel attacked, and she wasn't able to really point to anything specific. The only thing that the editors can come up with is that there was a flashback of Kyle and Dorit in the car, and Kyle tells Dorit that she thinks that, or she feels like Erica is feeling a little bit embarrassed and felt blindsided by what happened with the undies. And coincidentally, Eileen said the same thing. So supposedly they didn't talk about it beforehand. It's just a coincidence that those two ladies used the same word, blindsided. And so Dorit feels like they were all talking about her behind nowhere. So Eileen brings up the fact that Kyle's going to have a game night and that she asked Dorit, was she going, I think, and Dorit was like, yes. And Eileen mentions that Rinna will be there and they can finally clear up once and for all what happened with the dinner the week before. And I'm thinking, we got to talk about this again at another event. Come on. So next we move on to Kyle, and Kyle is getting ready for a baby shower. This is the show's way of reintroducing Kim back into the fray. Kim's daughter is having a baby, and so they're getting dressed together to get ready for this baby shower. So in Kim's confessional, she's telling us how great her life is. Everything's going well. Her recovery is going well. Her life's going well. Her relationships with her sisters are going well. And in the middle of all this, the editors put up this headline of Kim getting arrested for shoplifting. I was like, shady editors. I mean, that was just not necessary. As Kim is going on and on about how happy she is, we get a flash for actually how bad her life has been. So after the confessional, we come back to Kim. She's coming out of this room where she's put on her dress for the shower. And she looks really cute. It's a cute little dress. And Kyle says, Kim, what's at the bottom of your dress? It's one of those security things that they put on the clothes so that the alarm goes off if you walk out of the store with it. And so Kim is just non-phased. She's like, oh, they forgot to take that off. You can just twist it off like it's nothing, right? And so Kyle is just trying to help her. She's like, I don't know how to do that. So they show Kim like take it off. And I'm thinking, these editors are doing the most. First, they remind us of the shoplifting incident, and then right behind it, I mean, obviously it's clearly on purpose to make us wonder, did she steal that dress? But what was interesting is the security thing was still on the dress, but not the price tags. So when well, maybe she cut them off. But I mean, when the tags were there too, I don't know, it's just strange, right? It's just strange, but anyway, shady editors. So we move on to Rinna, and she's meeting up with Eden. And she tells us how much she likes Eden, how they just click, and they have so much in common that she just feels like they have an instant bond. And that they both lost their sisters, they both lost their father. But she tells Eden, how much she really, likes her as a friend. And she says she feels like she can really talk to her. And she said she feels close to Eileen too. Obviously, they're really, really good friends. But there's something about Eden. So I'm just curious, what's really going to happen with Eden? Like, why does Rinna need a new ally on the show? Do you guys think they're going to eventually put Rinna and Eileen against each other? Because they've kind of come in here, I think this is their third season, and they've been pretty allied. So the way the shows usually work is they're eventually going to break up that friendship. So I'm just curious if they're setting it up. And they're both actresses. So it might get really good. Yeah, it might get really good. So I'm wondering if, suddenly Rinna is going to be friends with Eden and then they're going to turn on Eileen or something. I'm just wondering, y'all. Just wondering. Wondered if you guys had the same thoughts. So as we get to know Eden a little bit more, she tells us how she doesn't drink. She said when she was 15, she had her first drink, and she knew then that this was probably going to turn into a problem. So it sounded like she still kept drinking even though she had that epiphany at 15, but then eventually she woke up one morning and decided no more drinking for her. which good for her because her sister, as we learned last week, her sister overdosed on drugs and, who knows what the scene was like, when she was growing up and maybe she was exposed to a lot more and she just decided, I don't want to go that route. Because she didn't say exactly at what age she stopped drinking. She just said what age she started. So she says she's worried about the gene alcoholism. And I can't remember if she called it a gene or if Lisa Rinna called it a gene, but they both are concerned about it because they have children. And so Lisa Rinna says she's worried about her kids getting the gene. And I'm thinking, well, they're already born. So if they've got the gene, they've got the gene. Maybe it hasn't manifested if they have it or whatever. I've never heard alcoholism called a gene before. I do know you can pass that down from generation to generation. I just never heard it phrased that way. But anyway, they are both concerned about their kids. So they choose to have a very responsible drinking habit so as not to, I guess, encourage their kids to go down the path of their relatives. Then Eden tells a story that I found a little interesting, and let me know what you guys thought. She tells a story about how she feels she pushes people away, or she says people always leave her. She has these like abandonment issues, even though she didn't call it that. It's like abandonment issues or rejection issues, whatever. And she tells a story about her parents, how when her mother was pregnant with her, she said she was a preemie when she was born, and that her mother had her on a Friday and then left her on a Friday and they went somewhere. And she's had this like, I guess, feeling of rejection ever since. And I was sitting here thinking to myself, how do you know what kind of pregnancy your mother had, whether or not she wanted you, if she left you that first day? I mean, would her mother tell her those things? Because the way she told the story, it really sounded like she was a afterthought or an inconvenience, and she was just kind of passed from person to person because her parents didn't want her. And I don't know, obviously don't know, but it seems like that wouldn't be the case. And I really wonder where did she get that from? There's no way she knew that she was, unwanted in the womb, because she said that her issue started with her being in the womb and being a preemie. So I'm just curious, guys. I mean, I'm just wondering what you thought about the whole thing. I mean, I obviously am not a psychologist, but it seems odd. I think somebody either told her that or she came to that conclusion, because it just seems unusual. Most people don't really know what life is like when they're in the womb. Now it's up for Erica. She didn't start the show this week, but we still see her working on her singing career. So she's with Mikey. I wrote down his name this time, Mikey. He's her creative director. So they're talking about the upcoming video shoot they're about to have for her song Expensive. This is her 10th video, and she's very excited about the set that's being built. She said it's expensive like the song, but she's very thrilled about how it's coming together. And that's it for Erica. Short and sweet. Then we move back to Kyle. Now this is where the show pretty much stays. Kyle's having her game night this week, and we are probably about 18 minutes in, and it starts with game night and it goes the whole way. So I thought, wow, we're starting kind of early. Must be some stuff from this game night show. So this game night. So anyway, Kyle's meeting with her game night planner, who we've seen in other episodes. They're getting everything ready for that evening. The editors treat us to a wonderful flashback of all the other disastrous game nights that have gone on, unfortunately, in seasons past, and it is glorious. So people start showing up. Kim's first, and then Erica shows up, and Kyle's kind of letting us know that she's kind of dreading Lisa Rinna getting there because she already knows that she and Kim do not get along. They secretly hate each other. So when Eden gets there, she says hello to everybody, and she tells Kyle she doesn't drink, and Kyle's kind of like, oh, okay. And she goes up to Kim and says hello. Now, Eden let us know that Eden's sister knew Kim because they acted together in a movie, but it didn't seem like she really knew Kim. But she probably knew of her. Well, she goes up to Kim and gives her a hug. And it seemed like it was the longest hug, right? It was almost like long lost friends, but we know that wasn't the case. So anyway, that was kind of strange. The girls all arrive, and then Lisa Rinna gets there, and she says hello to everybody. She's very gracious. She goes up to Lisa Vanderpump, says hello, gives her a kiss on the cheek. She says hello to Kim. I mean, it's like Lisa Rinna's on her best behavior. Lisa Rinna tells us she didn't know Kim was going to be there, but at this point in the game, she's just going to expect her where she least expects her, and she just try to keep it moving. It was super awkward after a while because, Lisa Rinna was nice to her and said congratulations about the grandbaby, and Kim says thank you, and she says, I believe you, and you said you're happy for me. And Lisa Rinna says, okay, good. And they kind of laugh, like they don't know what to do. It's very, very awkward. So night goes on, and somebody tells a joke. And so Dorit says, "Oh, don't make me laugh because I'm going to pee." And it made me think about Shannon from The Real Housewives of Orange County making a similar statement. But oh well, I know that has to do with having kids and all that. So anyway, when she says that though, it appears that once she makes that statement about peeing, Lisa, Rinna, and Eileen exchange looks. And Kim takes that personally and says, "I looked across the table and I see Lisa Rinna rolling her eyes at Eileen. And see, she says one thing to my face and another thing behind my back." And I'm thinking, how do you know she rolled her eyes about you? And she and Eileen were rolling their eyes. But I don't know. Maybe Kim's just trying to start the drama early. I don't know. So y'all, game night is a success this time. They play these games. All the ladies are engaged. There's a friendly competition going. It's a lot of fun, a lot of activity. And at the end of the day, Kyle's team wins the last game. So it sounds like a good time had by all. So after the games are all over, Kyle and Dorit are talking about the games, and somehow Eden comes up. And so Dorit has all these questions about Eden, how Eden was very physical in the game, and she asks if Eden's married, is she lesbian, and all this stuff. It was random questions. So Kyle was like, "You're going to have to ask her. I don't know her that well. I can't really speak to it. I don't know." So Dorit goes up to Eden, and she starts asking her these questions, and it starts out really weird. She's telling her about skinny dipping and all this weird. It was odd. And then she actually comes right out and asks Eden if she's gay. And so Eden says no, she's not gay. And so Dorit's like, "Oh, because I was turned on." She's some kind of disappointed. I'm thinking, aren't you married? Like, what are you even doing here? But anyway, so she's having a good time just chatting up Eden, getting to know her better. She tells Eden that she has sex appeal. Like, the whole thing was just bizarre, right? Just very bizarre. I was thinking that Dorit was drunk because who does that? I mean, it went from playing a game to like all of a sudden asking people if they're gay outright, telling them I'm turned on, and it was really strange. So I was wondering if she was gay. Okay. I was wondering if she was drunk. So interesting. On the sidelines, on another table, Eileen and Kyle are talking about Dorit. And Eileen is talking about how, she thinks that Erica felt bad about the whole incident. Eileen tells Kyle that Dorit feels picked on and that Dorit actually pulled her and Lisa Rinna to the side and said Erica was flashing everyone. Now, Kyle says that absolutely 100% did not happen. And I'm thinking, what? Because, I don't know. It got me confused. Like, but did she flash or didn't she? Because if Erica's saying she doesn't believe it even happened, and then from the flashbacks that they showed last week and the week before, from the angle they really focused on PK looking at Erica. But even in the flashback, it looked like PK was sitting like alongside Erica and not front on. So if Kyle is saying 100% it didn't happen, then did Dorit just make that up and PK too? Like, just to have something to talk about? I don't know. What did you guys think? When that happened, I'm very interested in hearing your side, what you thought about that whole exchange, what Kyle said. So Eileen calls Dorit over to the table to talk about this undies incident. And they start to talk about it. Dorit gets upset, and it's not really going anywhere. So she accuses Eileen of causing trouble and saying she brought up the undies. It's her fault they're even talking about it. And Eileen says, "I was just giving you my opinion. I wasn't attacking you." She felt blindsided. And Kyle also said the same thing. So Dorit says, "Well, Kyle and I were talking about it on the way home." And so Kyle was just like, "Wait, what? I wasn't talking about anything." She tried to get out of it. But of course, the editors have a flashback. And Kyle didn't say anything out of turn or wrong or anything. But she definitely did have a conversation with Dorit. So I don't know why she acted like she didn't. So they go on and on about how Dorit made Erica feel bad. And she was blindsided. And Dorit said, "Look, we said we left this at the table last week. And all of a sudden, I'm hearing that Eileen saying this and Kyle saying that and all this conversation going on about it when Eric and I said we were done with it." They're arguing, and Dorit tells Eileen, "Well, you're the one that brought up the topic. If you're saying that Erica felt uncomfortable about it because we're talking about it," because Eileen made a comment that, Erica was embarrassed and this whole conversation's embarrassing because we're talking about Erica. And Dorit says, "Well, you brought it up. So you're acting like I'm making her feel uncomfortable. We said we're leaving it alone, and you are actually bringing it up." And really, Eileen had nothing to say about that. So then Kyle chimes in, and she's saying, "Look, she's trying to calm Dorit down. Look, we're just saying that the undies probably made Erica feel bad." And then Dorit just blasts Kyle busts her wide open and says, well, you were with me when I bought the undies. If you thought that she was going to feel uncomfortable, you should have spoken up that day and just put her in blast. And nothing happened of that. Nothing happened with that. Erica didn't speak up. Erica was like sitting at the table throughout this entire conversation, and she didn't say anything. She sat there like she was asleep. While Dorit is holding forth, she's not going down without a fight, y'all. She's not going to just be passive and intimidated by these ladies. She's really arguing with Kyle and everybody. And Kyle's like, how did I get involved in this? And Dorit says, you've been involved from beginning to end. Kyle's just flabbergasted. And then Dorit turns to Lisa Rinna and was like, because Eric has been saying to us in the confessional that, somebody should have let her know she was flashing. And so Dorit says, well, who was supposed to let Erica know what was going on? I didn't even know Erica. So why was I going to speak up and say anything? And so Lisa Rinna says, well, don't you have any human decency to tell a woman what's going on with them? So when Dorit had called and Kyle into the conversation and starts talking about, Kyle was there for the shopping trip and everything, Kyle tries to defend herself, but she's too polite about it. She keeps saying, can I say something? Can I say something? Can I say something? And Dorit is just going on and on and on and on, and she's talking to Lisa Rinna. It's like Kyle didn't say anything. So when Dorit turns her attention back to Eileen, she said something that Eileen did not like, and Eileen just immediately interjects and starts to speak. But Dorit is talking over her like she talked over Kyle. Kyle backed down and didn't say anything else. Eileen said, stop talking. You talk entirely too much. And that shut her up, and Eileen got to speak her piece. But when she did that, Kyle was just like, oh no. And so was Lisa Vanderpump. Yeah, she was there too, although she really didn't get involved much either. So finally Lisa Rinna pipes up and says, listen, Dorit, this is the issue. Erica feels some kind of way because she feels like you've all been talking about her behind her back, and that's the problem. And then Erica comes alive and wakes up from her slumber and says, yes, that is the issue. That is what I did not like about this whole entire situation. She said outside of her presence, this whole thing was becoming more than it needed to be, and all anybody had to do was say, hey, E, close your legs, and it would have been over. And then Kim pipes up and says she can't believe there's all this brouhaha over someone not wearing panties. Like, what's the big deal? And all the ladies laugh, and you think it's going to lighten the mood. And it did for a second. But then Lisa Rinna had to bring it right on back to the drama. And she brings up what Dorit said about the whole conversation at the dinner party with her and PK. So she tries to talk about what happened, and she said she wants to clear the air, clarify what went on at the dinner party between her and PK, and Dorit acts like she has no recollection of what's going on at all. At all. And so Lisa Vanderpump was just listening like, what now? Who said what? PK? And she's trying to get all the facts as well. So during this, Lisa Vanderpump has her own little confessional, and she's acting like the victim. She's acting like, yes, I'm validated, because Dorit had made a statement that Lisa Rinna and Eileen were ganging up on her and were attacking her. Lisa Vanderpump says that Lisa herself that was ganged up on too last season, but she didn't say anything, but that Dorit is not the one, that she's going to speak up and she's going to say something, and that's what they're saying. So I don't know why Lisa Vanderpump took that personally. Dorit actually did something that created all this conversation, and I don't think it had anything to do with Lisa Rinna and Eileen ganging up on Dorit. So as they're discussing this whole dynamic between Lisa Rinna and Eileen, Kim pipes up to say, yes, Eileen and Lisa, you two do bounce things off of one another. And why did she say that? Because this starts an argument between her and Lisa Rinna. And Kim, and she's insistent that Lisa Rinna owes her an apology for how she came after her. And Lisa Rinna says, well, you owe me an apology because you talked about my husband. And Kim says, I never talked about your husband. I never said a word. I just said, let's talk about him. But I never actually said anything. So, of course, Lisa Rinna is still feeling some kind of way because how dare you even imply that there's something to even talk about. So Kim's deliberately being obtuse by acting like, I was innocent. I didn't say anything wrong. And Lisa Rinna's getting madder. So even though Lisa Rinna and Eileen have been explaining, trying to clarify to Dorit that the passing of their parents had nothing to do with the treatment of Lisa Vanderpump, Kim decides to, I don't know if she's misunderstood it or what's the deal, but when she's coming at Lisa Rinna, she's saying, you make all these excuses and you say whatever you want to say and you hide behind an excuse. Just like you're using your dad as an excuse, your dad's death as an excuse to treat Lisa Vanderpump that way. And Lisa Rinna says, no, I'm not making up an excuse. That's exactly what we're trying to say. My father's passing had nothing to do with any of this. And so Kim is saying, well, you came after me the whole time last season before last, and I didn't do it. Basically, she acted like she didn't do anything to Lisa Rinna. And so Lisa Rinna says, my father had no issues when I was coming after you. I was coming after you because of what you said about my husband. Let's just be clear. So yeah. They played that flashback from Amsterdam when Kim said that little slick remark about let's talk about your husband. And Lisa Rinna reached across that table like she was going to choke her and said, don't you ever talk about my husband. And she got up, and I remember Kim got up too, and Brandy had to hold her back. And so I forgot who was pulling her away, who pulled Lisa Rinna away. But Lisa Rinna slammed her glass down and broke it. And it was like the juiciest clip that they could have played. I was like, wow. That was, I think, Lisa Rinna's first season, actually. And she was really serious about, do not talk about my man. So they go back and forth. Lisa Rinna and Kim go back and forth about who owes who an apology. And so finally, Kim keeps saying, I didn't say anything about your husband, just maintaining that line. So then Kim tells Lisa Rinna, like, a shame on you, Lisa. You came after me at a time when I was going through a hard time, and she's really playing the victim card. And so Lisa Rinna just is like, look, the truth is the truth is the truth is the truth. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to you act like, you're this innocent victim when you came after my husband. So because Kim is just not accepting anything that she's done, no responsibility, and she keeps on saying, let's talk about your husband, Lisa's like, well, look, let's talk about your arrest. How about that? Let's bring that up. She said that Kim plays dirty and that Kim went low, and then instead of her going high, she went low too. And so Lisa Vanderpump and Kyle, they're like, oh, no, don't do it. Just calm down. And that's, drop it, because they feel like that was a super, super low blow. And it was. And see, the problem is they don't check Kim. Kim is slick with her words too. And they also should have told her, look, Kim, you are inciting this whole situation. But you not recognizing the fact that you even bringing up her husband is setting her off is your fault. So you have a role to play in here too. So I understand Kim is sick. I don't even think she should be back this season because it's not fair. She has a problem and maybe she needs money, but it's not fair that she can come on here and pretend like everything's honky-dory and do all these things and incite these different arguments by the things that she says. But then if somebody retaliates, she's just like, oh, see, that's a low blow. I'm trying to do better and all this stuff. I can't stand people who dish it but can't take it. So, of course, Kim says she needs an apology from Lisa, and she's acting like she's all broken up by it. So Lisa Rinna apologizes. She says, you know what? I sincerely am sorry. That was wrong of me, and I want to say I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings. One of those Real Housewives non-apologies. If I did anything to hurt you, I'm sorry. But Kim took it. She said, thank you. She said, okay. She didn't say thank you. She didn't say I receive it. She did not say I'm sorry for what I said about your husband. She just said, okay. And Lisa Rinna is disgusted and furious. She gets her shoes and she leaves. But before this, in the middle of all this brouhaha, Eden pipes up. And she asks Kim if she's a sober woman. I've never heard that terminology before. But maybe that's what they use over there. And Kim says, yes, I'm a sober woman. And so she tells Kim that sober people are supposed to be coming from a place of love and of dignity and honor and respect. And when she hears Kim attacking, she's the only one that actually held Kim accountable for what she was saying and recognizing that what she was saying was an attack. She says, we're supposed to be examples, live our life by example or lead by example. And when I hear you attack, that means that there's something else going on. and there's something else, and you need to talk about what that is and not attack. So Kim says, I was hurt by the fact that she came after me. And so Eden says, okay, so you were hurt. And she goes, yeah, I was hurt. So that is when Lisa Rinna apologized because Eden intervened. And Lisa Rinna even said she was glad that Eden intervened and she was happy to apologize because it's definitely better than what they've been doing so far. So maybe it's turning over a new leaf for both of them. It was kind of strange too. Like Eden was like, the way she was talking and the way she was saying that, it was like she was a completely different person from the one we had seen in game night and everything else. She seemed wounded, like she was really had gone through something, and I don't know. It was interesting. She obviously connected with Kim in a way that we haven't seen anybody else connect with her and really speak to her issue and get her to sort of change. So that was interesting. But yeah. Because of this kerfuffle, Dorit sure to get off the hot seat, didn't she? We forgot all about Dorit. And pretty much the episode ends there. Lisa Rinna leaves with her shoes, and the show closes. So, I mean, not a whole lot that went on. That game night was the majority of it, and, the end of the show, I would say, had the most drama between Kim and Lisa. And they milked that whole scene about, let's talk about your arrest. And they didn't even talk about the arrest at the end of the day. But hey, it was a juicy soundbite, wasn't it? Got us interested, waiting to watch and see what was going to happen. So that's it, guys. What did y'all think of the show? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Be sure to comment down below and let me know whose side are you on. Do you think that Lisa Rinna deserves an apology from Kim? Do you think Kim even needs to be on the show? Or are you glad that Lisa Rinna apologized to Kim because she's been out of line for seasons? Very interested to know what your thoughts are about this episode. In the previews for next week, man, Eileen is like a dog with a bone. I do not want to see Eileen chasing Dorit down week after week after week after week to try to get her to acknowledge the fact that she had this dinner party where she was out of line and that Eileen wasn't even at. And I don't want to hear about the undies anymore. Like, it's over. You're not even Erica. So I don't know what the conversation is about, but they're going to have another sit down next week. And I really hope it's about something completely different. They showed a preview of Lisa Rinna talking to Eden, and she said that she thinks Kim is mostly sober and that Kyle is her enabler. Y'all, I was kind of shocked. Like, wow, you're calling out Kyle? Like, wow, what's that going to do to y'all's friendship? That sounds like it's just fighting words to me. She also says they all know Kim is this close to dying. That was a terrible thing to say. Like, I hope that was out of context or whatever it is, but that was horrible to hear. So anyway, guys, that's preview for next week. Hopefully it's more interesting than this week was. And let me know in the comments what you guys think. Thanks a lot for watching and subscribing to my channel. Thank you for coming back. And let me know in the comments what you think because I want to interact with you guys and hear it up. I don't want to just be the one talking here. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.